Hi, I'm Beth. Welcome to my basement yoga room for today's practice. This yoga practice will be a combination of a bit of centering and breathing, and then holding a restorative yoga posture while I do a reading to aid in relaxation in that pose. So I have some props gathered around me. I've got a couple of just regular bath towels that are folded in a square. When we use them, I might fold them again. I also have a small pillow here for aiding comfort. That's for under the head. So those are optional. If you don't have towels handy, blankets work fine. Other pillows, bigger pillows work fine. Yoga blocks work fine. So whatever you have, the props aren't necessary. They can simply help to make your relaxation in the pose a little bit more supported and restful. We'll start with a breathing practice. And what we're going to do is we're going to theme this practice around the idea of contentment or santosha. So santosha is one of the niyamas. The yamas and the niyamas are yoga's ethical practices. And in fact, I'll be reading from a book called Yamas and Niyamas by Deborah Adele, and I'll link to that below. So as we start this breath practice, simply find a comfortable seat. I'm sitting cross-legged and I'm wiggling back and forth a little bit so I can be more upright on my sits bones. You can be sitting however you'd like. Perhaps you're in a chair. Perhaps you're lying down. As long as you feel that you can have an unrestricted access to your breath, that's fine too. So start with simply becoming more aware of your breath. You're already breathing, so become aware of the breath in the body. So to prepare for this practice of contentment, the type of breath that we'll practice today is an even breath in and an even breath out. Before you even try or effort to move into that, notice where you are to start. Perhaps one element, the inhale or the exhale, is much longer or shorter than the other. Maybe you start to notice you take a huge breath in, just a little bit of a breath out, or vice versa. So we'll gradually start to align those two a little bit more, bringing a rhythm of an even breath in as the air flows into the body, and an even breath out as the air exhales out of the body. If it would aid you in doing this, you might want to count in your head. So you would count wherever you'd land on the in-breath, and then gently, without a lot of effort, try to make the exhale about the same length. Something along the lines of in, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. You'll notice I said without a lot of effort. We're not trying to force the breath. We're exerting the gentlest of control over the breath. And we're not looking for perfection or anything exact. About 3 to 5 more rounds of breath, looking for that even inhale, even exhale. And I give a range because everybody's rate of breath is different, so in that range you might actually breathe just 2 full cycles of breath, or perhaps 6. Doesn't matter where you are. Really, the most important thing is that you're being mindful of your breathing, even if the inhale and the exhale don't feel so equal. That evenness can just help us settle into the breath a little bit more and can start to connect, not just connect the mind and the body, but also help relax the body, relax the mind as well. So when we settle into the restorative posture, You can let go of the breath at first and just pay attention to the setup for the posture. But then when we relax back into the pose, you might want to cultivate that even inhale, even exhale once again, and I'll remind you about that. So the pose we're going to do today with the optional support of your towels or blankets is reclined bound angle, or supta, baddha, konasana. So supta is lying, reclined, baddha is bound, and konasana is angle. This is basically lying with the legs in a butterfly position. So sometimes this is called reclined butterfly or lying butterfly. It's also called cobbler pose. Many of the yoga poses have a lot of names. Your soles of your feet will be together, and you'll see as I lie back that they might be further out in a larger diamond. They might be closer to your body. That doesn't matter. We're looking for comfort and rest. And then the towels are for propping your thighs. So as I said, I'm going to fold over my towels so they're a little thicker. You can see if you have a yoga block, they're about the same size as yoga blocks. You could also put your towels on top of yoga blocks as well. I'll start to lie back in my bound angle shape. I have my pillow behind me for my head. Again, not necessary, but might feel a little more comfortable. So I'm lying down. I'm allowing my knees to open, and then my knees are not all the way to the floor. My thighs are in the air. That's fine, but just to make this a little bit more restful and comfortable, I'll take one blanket under this thigh, one blanket under that thigh, arranging them anywhere that feels like, I can just allow the legs to flap open. And then same thing with the arms. They might flap open out to the sides. They might come up in more of a cactus. When we're doing restorative yoga, we're simply looking for a sense of rest, a sense where the props can hold us in the posture and allow us to feel restful and restored. So take a moment to adjust anything that needs to adjust. If you need to grab another blanket or two, another towel or two for under your thighs, go ahead and grab that. And as you make your adjustments, I'm going to make my way back up to seated so I can share with you the reading for today. So start to settle in. And remember that as you settle in, if you'd like to return to that breath pattern, it's the pattern of even breath in, even breath out, if that is helpful to you. The idea is to do it if you do find it restful. If you don't, if it feels like too much effort, of course, it is not necessary. If there's any part of your body that you feel is holding on, maybe you notice a slight fist in your hands, you can soften or release. Maybe connect that part to the breathing. And by that I mean as you breathe in and then exhale, maybe you feel a sense of release in that area. So I'll start the reading from Deborah Adle's book, or Dell's book. So she has a chapter on each yama and niyama. There's a chapter on santosha, or contentment. I'm just going to be reading a few selections from that chapter. I'm not going to be reading the entire chapter. I'm starting on page 129 when she talks about maintaining center. The Buddhists speak of developing an abiding calm, a centerness that is unshakable, like a tall tree so rooted in the earth that great winds cannot topple it. This for me is the image of contentment. It means not riding the waves of the ups and downs of life. It means that we are not only agree to what is in the moment, but we actually welcome it. It means that in all the noise and demands of modernity, we stay in the abiding calm center. This is the mastery of life that contentment invites us into. The practice of gratitude and non-seeking can help us stay rooted in this jewel. There is a paradox to santosha. The more we seek it, or need it to look a certain way, the more it eludes us. I find that I am continually faced with my illusions of contentment. I have an image in my mind that I will always be centered and calm, that life will always seem perfect to me. It is, I think, this very image that keeps tripping me up and keeping me from the contentment I seek. Think about it. It is easy to be content when we feel great, and things are going our way, and we like ourselves. But what about when chaos and interruptions abound, or we feel bored and depressed? What then? Discontentment is the illusion that there can't be something else in the moment. That there can be something else in the moment. There isn't, and there can't be. The moment is complete. That means if I am bored or sad, I will only be discontented if I am not content to be bored and sad. Building contentment with boredom, sadness, impatience, depression, disappointment, and loss builds our ability to be that tall tree so rooted in the earth that great winds cannot topple it. Being content with our discontentment is itself a gateway to the calm depths within. The paradox of not seeking contentment allows us to appreciate what we have. Swami Rama stated it this way: contentment is falling in love with your life. In the beloved classic The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy embarked on a long journey to discover that she already had contentment where she was. In the words of Swami Rama, she had fallen in love with her life. Santosha, or contentment, is performing duty and right action with pure joy. It is the true understanding that there is nothing more that can or does exist than this very moment. When we are purely in the moment is complete. So take a little bit longer to be in this moment. Perhaps reflecting on that idea of how that contentment might manifest for you. Where the joy, the appreciation in this moment might be, even as there is chaos and uncertainty in the world. And then you're welcome to stay here in this supported posture and lie as long as you'd like. I'll conclude the practice by sharing my wish of peace. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. Peace, peace, peace. I hope that this practice may help you to find a little bit of contentment in your life. I also filmed a meditation on the same theme if you'd like to check that out as well. Thank you for joining me.